Welcome to the Menopause Muscle Masterclass. This is exactly how to lose your next 10 to 15 pounds for good. Who's ready to make menopause their bitch? I think it's quite an empowering statement to make that you are ready to make it your bitch. I have a little meme here. It says, menopause is derived from the Latin root of like, what is going on with me? The time of life where a woman doesn't know if she's coming or going, on fire or freezing, happy or sad, wants to diet or eat everything in sight. Some common phrases that are used in menopause are like hot flashes, mood swings, brain fog. Women in menopause may self-medicate with wine, chocolate, vodka, ice cream, carbs, whatever, like new shoes, online purchases, Netflix, or, by looking at pictures of Sam Elliott. That guy that's, in all the old Western movies. Guy's handsome. We all know. But we're going to get more scientific than that. We're going to go over exactly today's agenda. So what roles do hormones play in menopausal symptoms? So estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, progesterone. We're going to be going over the root cause of weight gain. This is all stuff that I've learned from hormone specialists. So if I can transfer that information to you guys, and that way I can save you tons and tons and tons of money, then that's my ultimate goal out of this, because I think that there's not enough information out for women in menopause to understand what the heck is going on with their body. And if I can empower you to understand what is going on, then I've done my job and I'm extremely happy, because I don't want you guys to suffer. I want you to not just survive, but I want you to freaking thrive. And that's what you're going to be able to do after you're done watching this training. We're going to talk about 3 suggestions for effective and sustainable weight loss. Okay, because that's what we want to focus on, is sustainable. What can you continue to do for the rest of your life? We're going to talk about stress management and mitigating symptoms. We're going to go over hormone replacement therapy and then bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. And then we're going to do a little Q&A at the end. Okay. Who the heck am I? I know you guys want to get right into the nitty gritty of the hormones and stuff, and we will. So before anything else, I'm an avid health junkie. I love learning new ways to improve my health and to improve others' health. I love hiking through forests. I live on Vancouver Island, British Columbia. I love traveling to different countries. In fact, right now I'm in the Dominican Republic with my partner. I love surfing and playing on the beach with my partner, Marissa, and our little chihuahua. Her name is Gypsy. I'm also the founder and CEO of Freedom Fitness Nutrition Coaching. I've helped over 500 women heal their metabolism and optimize their hormones to make fat loss easy using my Menopause Metabolism Matrix and our Fit Mom Formula program. Next thing you probably want to know is, why do I help women? Because it can be very suspicious. It's like, why is this guy trying to help more women? In short, I was a victim of domestic violence growing up. However, my mom had it the worst. She went through, hell, to, say the least. And so taking care of my mom was my number one priority growing up. And it just so happens that the gym saved both of our lives. And so it gave me the strength and the confidence that I needed to stick up for my mom, but also it gave me energy to start a mission to help millions of modern middle-aged women find their spark, feel their best, and get the support and the treatment that they deserve to achieve a strong, toned, healthy mind and body. And so my mission, this mission, is about helping that middle-aged woman feel proud about herself so that she can keep up with her grandchildren, so that she doesn't feel ashamed of her body in the ways that it's changing, so she can show up and be present with her partner, be able to have shorts on this summer and not feel self-conscious. And I also want you to know that you can do this sustainably without any BS diets. So that's who this is for. Because if you're sitting here telling yourself right now, I don't even feel like myself, I don't know who I am anymore, that's the type of woman that I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help you feel your best again, like you did in your 20s and 30s. And if you did not feel good in your 20s and 30s because you had a poor relationship with food or something of those sorts, I want to help you unlearn all the things that kept you stuck. I'm just going to speed through this. I got over 10 years of experience. I studied at Georgian College. I studied fitness and health promotions. I knew I needed to learn more about nutrition in the human body because my sister was diagnosed with PCOS. And I figured that my passion for fitness and health could help her, but also help so many other people if I just gained the right skill set. I taught English overseas using fitness. I was a huge introvert. And getting a teaching job increased my confidence. And finally, it felt like my voice actually mattered after years of domestic violence. Many of you watching this right now might be victims of domestic violence in the past. And you know what abusers will do to try to make you feel like your voice doesn't matter or that you're crazy. This was a huge stepping stone for me. And that job gave me the ability to do what I'm doing right now, deliver valuable information and change many people's lives, because I am valuable and so are you. We're going to help you get your worth back. I started helping women heal their metabolism in 2019. So it's been about 5 years. And so after a depressive episode due to unhealed trauma, because we've all been there, and like trauma makes menopausal symptoms even worse. And we're going to get into that. I decided to move back to Canada from Asia. And I realized that as I healed, I needed to put my knowledge into practice. So I got back into the gym, transformed my mind and body, and then started helping others do the same. Let's talk about the role of hormones first. As women get past 35, ovaries begin to shut down. This can also happen sometimes without, the whole age factor going through surgery. So you can actually have surgery-induced menopause. Maybe, other people going through cancer, radiation. Some people can get kicked into menopause early because of that. And so then your ovaries just start producing less and less and less estrogen and all of these other sex hormones. And so a lot of professionals like to refer to this as puberty in reverse. All right. So this is reverse puberty. And so as hormones decline, such as estrogen, you start to feel hot sweats, brain fog. Man, there's a lot of spelling errors in here. I apologize for that. Brain dog. You guys know what I meant. Brain health, so cognitive function declines. And so also what declines, because all hormones are declining in menopause, is progesterone, which is the first one to start to decline in perimenopause. And so this is the calming hormone. So if you're feeling irritable or if you can't get any sleep, it can also bring feelings of anxiety or racing thoughts. So that's what happens when your progesterone starts to decrease, and you might be feeling that if you're in the early stages of menopause, which is perimenopause, okay, or premenopause. Next is testosterone. Women actually have 10 times more testosterone than estrogen, but so many are afraid of testosterone, which is why they refuse to take maybe like hormone replacement therapy or like testosterone replacement therapy, stuff like that. And sometimes it's exactly what you need because again, you have 10 times more testosterone than you do estrogen. So just remember that. So that way you don't feel like it's a bad thing or that it's only for men. Testosterone is going to help prevent frailty. So breaking bones, it's going to help you increase calcium. It's going to just make your bones and muscles strong. It's also going to help maintain motivation and maintain muscle for a strong metabolism system. So if you want to burn more calories doing absolutely nothing, it's important that you have good levels of testosterone. Otherwise, you are going to lose a lot of lean muscle tissue, which is why as you get older, as women get older, if they're not taking hormone replacement therapy, they're losing a lot of muscle. So when most women visit a doctor and say, I'm just not feeling like myself, that's got Prozac written all over it. So the problem with going to a doctor nowadays is because they're not so well versed in like menopause, and it's not really taught a lot in medical school. Because it's just a natural part of life. Doctors are more so trained to diagnose things that are a risk of your life. If like obesity, they might give you, Ozempic or something like that to make sure that you lose visceral fat that can cause heart disease, stroke. But when it comes to menopause, it's just a normal thing that happens through life. So a lot of doctors will just kind of push it aside and not think anything of it. But it does affect your quality of life. And there does need to be more education on it, which is why I'm here right now. If you go into a doctor, I'm just letting you know, if they're, giving you antidepressant medication or anxiety medication to combat, that's not solving the root problem. All right. That's just a Band-Aid. And so we need to start focusing on hormone balance, which is what we're going to get into. So how changes affect physiology in menopause? All right, hormones affect each other. Think of like a domino effect. And I have a whole chart here to kind of go over everything. And feel free to screenshot this. Your hormones affect each other like a domino effect. Testosterone, again, maintains your muscle mass. Okay, and then low testosterone impacts your metabolism. That's the amount of calories that your body burns. Muscle burns more calories at rest than any other tissue. Next, we need to understand what estrogen does. Estrogen's actually when estrogen drops, then what happens is insulin resistance can happen, and insulin is there to help regulate your blood sugar. So your body, what it does as it's going through perimenopause and your progesterone is going down and your testosterone and your estrogen, everything's going down, your body releases more insulin as a result. Insulin itself is actually a fat storing hormone. This can cause diabetes. And so when all hormones decrease, another big one that we need to pay attention to is cortisol. So cortisol is going to increase as a result of fat gain. So more insulin means more body fat storage, and then you struggle to lose body fat. And this is the case for so many people. And thyroid can also get affected from high cortisol. So see how it's this domino effect, right? All of a sudden, it's like your testosterone dips, and now your metabolism's dropping, and your estrogen drops, and your insulin increases, and your insulin increases, your body fat increases. And with fat gain comes higher cortisol, higher stress. Cortisol is a stress hormone, right? And then this slows down your metabolism as well because of your thyroid. Your thyroid downregulates due to high cortisol. The stages of menopause. I think it's important that you understand the basics of how everything works from start to finish. That way you guys can feel more empowered to know exactly what to expect. Because perimenopause. So this is just before menopause. This is when you start to have a little bit more irregular periods, heavier periods or maybe less heavy, PMS, potential. Most people go for like a hysterectomy. Not everyone, but a lot of people do because of the bleeding problems. And so at this point, what happens is your estrogen's normal, but your progesterone declines, and this makes you more estrogen dominant. So when you're estrogen dominant, all of these crazy menopausal symptoms can start up. The hot flashes, the mood swings, the lack of sleep. Everybody's different, so not everybody's going to feel the exact same thing. But like some people don't feel anything at all, and they're like, "Oh, well, I must not be going through perimenopause." But it's not true. But for those of you guys that are just maybe 35, 40, maybe 45. You might feel like, oh, everything's going great. And then all of a sudden progesterone has a big dip because it's like this. This is what progesterone does, right? So it's like up and down, up and down. All of a sudden you have a big dip, and then you go to your doctor and you're like, oh my God, like I'm actually feeling fine now. I was feeling horrible before I came in. I guess I'm fine now. And then you go home. But then all of a sudden it comes back. And so just because you don't feel the symptoms right now doesn't mean it's not happening, is what I want to say. So menopause. This is kind of like when for 12 consecutive months you don't have a menstrual period. Just you don't have your period again, and this is when you know that you're in menopause. 12 consecutive months, no period. And so your estrogen levels continue to decline. Insulin resistance occurs. That means, you are at more risk of diabetes and gaining more body fat around your waist. This is when you kind of feel like maybe if your body's like shaped like a square right now, so you start to stack on more weight around your waist, around your thighs, around your arms. So you get that like arm flap, and this really affects you mentally, right? On top of that, you're at risk for more bone loss, so risk of osteoporosis. Your estrogen plays a crucial role in maintaining bone density, and then postmenopause is just continued risk of health issues. So if we don't do the following things I'm about to share here, then you will be more at risk for health issues such as heart disease, obesity, stroke, osteoporosis, and cognitive decline. So that's why I think it's so important that this masterclass happens. And I'm proud of each and every single one of you for showing up here, because that means that you care about your health. You care about sticking around a really long time for your grandchildren and for your own kids, and just living the best life you can. So first thing that a lot of women do, because you're overwhelmed, is start blaming hormones. So what can we do first? Okay, step one, manage stress. At the bottom of the pyramid, the foundation, the very most important thing that you can do, the most important thing you can do is manage stress. The hormone cortisol, which is a stress hormone, is created in the adrenal glands. Okay, and when we're stressed consistently over time, this can cause a hormonal imbalance. Like I mentioned, the whole domino effect. An analogy that I was told a while back that I think is a really cool visual for you to picture here in your mind is the three-legged stool. At the top, the seat that you sit on, is your blood sugar and your cortisol levels. Then the one leg is your adrenals, and like your thyroid and everything in between. When one is affected, it affects everything else. If your adrenals are affected, that leg gets shorter and it makes the seat lean. And how this applies to you is that, like, if your hormones are balanced, you can still exercise, you can still do all the things, but something just doesn't feel right. You're on a freaking tilt, right? So if you're trying to sit on the seat, this seat of hormones, balanced hormones, if things are imbalanced, you're sitting on an imbalanced chair, it can feel like some days it's easy to fall off. So everything works together. When one is off, the others are off. The biggest thing to understand is that your body prioritizes the production of cortisol over estrogen and testosterone. That blew my mind when I learned that, because if you're constantly stressed all the time, your estrogen, your testosterone are going to drop. But if you manage your stress, then your testosterone and your estrogen are going to be more balanced, because they're being produced more. And so that's why stress is the first and foremost, most important thing that you can focus on. If you don't, that high stress will lead to things like heavy menstruation, like periods, mood swings, weight gain, etc. Step two, nutrition. It's common for women to undereat. Why? You guys have kids in sports, or maybe you're just not really hungry first thing in the morning, and then you don't eat till 2 and you survive off with 3 to 5 coffees, or maybe you smoke and you just don't have much of an appetite because it is an appetite suppressant. You're just busy. And so this can slow down your metabolism. Yes, eating less is going to make you less energized, right? And so your metabolism, the amount of calories your body burns, is going to drop. And so doing low carb diets also slows down thyroid function. And so you burn less calories as a result. Now, I know what you're thinking, but carbs aren't an essential macronutrient, right? Macros, carb, fat, protein. You guys might be familiar with macros. If not, that's for another training. But, a lot of people say, well, I've done keto in the past. I've done low carb, no sugar. And all of that works until it doesn't. And a lot of it is because, one, carbs actually help stabilize your blood sugar if you're having it in a well-balanced diet with fat. If you don't have carbohydrates, your body, yes, will make ketones, which is like a sugar in and of itself. It can convert protein and fat into a sugar. But the thing is that's not optimal. There's a reason why we have carb, fat, and protein in our diet, because it's balanced. And so if you're taking out an entire food group, you will lose weight. But then let's just be honest. Who here loves carbs? Who here loves chocolate? I do. Who here likes, a sandwich once in a while, or a slice of pizza, or some pasta? I understand, or ice cream. I understand not everybody will be a fan of some of these things that I just listed, but if you're cutting things out, you're not going to be able to stick to whatever you're doing for the rest of your life, or at least enjoy it. And most importantly, you'll have to make something different for yourself when your family wants to eat, and then that's just a miserable process. It's not a great relationship to have with food. So another thing that is neglected in the component of nutrition is gut health. Without enough good bacteria in your gut from foods that are high in pre and probiotics, and we need to be having fermented foods. Otherwise, fun fact, your brain is actually connected to your gut. And so it's called the vagus nerve. And so if your gut health is poor, so will your mental health. Your mental health will be poor. And then what does poor mental health lead to? High cortisol, which means low estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, DHEA. And that's why it's so, what studies are really showing now is that your gut health is extremely important for your hormone health as well. You can have kimchi, or you can have, another like sourdough. Sourdough bread is amazing and digests way better. If you have problems digesting bread, go for sourdough. Also, here's a big thing. Not all foods are created equally. Even though eggs are considered healthy, it can cause problem for some people because there's such thing as food sensitivities. And so as you're going through these hormonal changes, your body will be going through, different changes with your digestive system. And so it's important that whatever coach you decide to work with in the future, if you choose to work with a coach for more accountability, that they consider the foods that you're consuming as maybe potential risks for food sensitivities. And that's why it's so important to track your food while you're trying to reach a goal, just for a short while, because, some people prefer to track food forever. And that's not me, and that's not what I preach. I'd rather you go into intuitive eating after you reach your goal. If you're tracking, you're going to be able to figure out what foods are working for you and what foods aren't. And it's important that you have accountability with that. It's very simple. It's very quick. It doesn't take a lot of time. Trust me, it doesn't take a lot of willpower. You guys will spend 5 minutes on your phone or 10 minutes on your phone scrolling on Instagram or Facebook to try to find, and come across a link to join a masterclass, right? I mean, we're all on social media these days. It takes 5 minutes to plan what you're going to eat tomorrow through your phone. Okay, so step 3, exercise. So lifting heavy weights to build back muscle that you've lost is absolutely critical to improve your metabolism and make fat loss easier. All women above 30 lose 1 to 2% of lean muscle mass every single year. This means that you have more weight gain, frail bones, less energy, and as a result, more menopausal symptoms. This is mostly because you lose testosterone. You lose muscle, you lose testosterone. And also, I want to let you guys know, like if you've had a hysterectomy or something of those sorts, your adrenals still produce hormones. And so if we can optimize your adrenals, then you can also improve your muscle mass. You can still create estrogen and testosterone. And that's why exercise is so important. It is going to help you naturally produce more of these hormones that will help you decrease the chances of you having osteoporosis, bone loss, muscle loss, which then in return will help you be able to live a longer life and have more energy and have a faster metabolism to keep body fat off. So let's talk about the most important parts of your metabolism, starting with your basal metabolic rate. So this is everything that makes up your entire metabolism, your total daily energy expenditure. Number 1, blood flow right here. Your muscles, your body has to work a little bit harder to pump blood to that tissue. Breathing. Okay, breathing is an involuntary thing that your body will always be doing all around the clock, every day, every second that you're alive. So it makes sense that makes up most of your metabolism. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis makes up 15 to 20% of your total metabolism. The thing about your body going through menopause is that all those things slow down because it's so focused on the changes that are going on and the stress that your body's going through and your blood sugar and all these other things that all of a sudden you kind of drag your feet behind you, especially if you're not eating enough calories. And so your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, you can increase this by more steps, getting in more walks. You're going to burn a lot more calories walking throughout the day than you ever will any kind of exercise. Walking is the most underrated form of exercise. Your thermic effect of food. So your body actually burns 10 to 15% of the total calories it burns in a day digesting food, because your body needs to expend energy to break down food. So you burn about 30% of the calories you consume through protein. So how that makes sense is if you have 25 grams of protein, that's 100 calories. You're burning 30 calories out of those 100 calories digesting that 25 grams. Now multiply 25 times 4, that's 100 grams, right? So 30, 60, 90, 120. You're burning 150 calories a day just by consuming 100 grams of protein. Crazy, right? But a lot of you guys are eating half of that. You guys are eating 30 to 40 or 50 grams of protein a day. You could be burning a lot more calories digesting more protein. Fat only burns about 1 to 2% of the calories you consume, and carb is about 5 to 10%. So protein is the most thermogenic food. And this is great because it helps you keep muscle mass, but it also speeds up your metabolism. And lastly, the thing that most people focus on is exercise, which makes up only 5 to 10% of the total calories that you burn in a day, no matter how hard you work. And so if you go into the gym, try to burn as many calories as you can, you run around doing boot camp stuff, I don't care what your Fitbit says, you're probably burned 200 to 300 calories. Where you want to be putting most of your energy into is your NEAT. So through your steps, through fidgeting. Obviously, those aren't things that you think about. They just happen involuntarily, but they happen because you're fueled. And if you're not fueled, you're not fidgety. You want to sit on the couch and lay back and relax. You talk slow, you blink slow. So this part that burns so many more calories than exercise and even digesting food, that part is solely dependent on whether or not you're getting enough calories to fuel your body. So if you're just slashing back a bunch of calories, cutting out carbs, like this NEAT, this non-exercise activity thermogenesis, over time, it decreases. Now you understand how metabolism works and where you should be putting in most of your energy. It should be into building muscle to increase your basal metabolic rate. Your body has to work harder to pump blood to that muscle. So more muscle, more calories burned, faster metabolism. More steps, burns way more calories than any kind of exercise ever will. So let's go over these three things, and then we'll talk about hormone replacement therapy and bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. So stress management, here's some things you can do. Number one, this works really good for my clients. In the morning, you should have a routine. There's no reason why you can't do a 5 a.m. or 5-minute cold shower, not at 5 a.m. Nobody wants to get up at 5 a.m. So if you don't have to, don't get up at 5 a.m. I didn't mean to say that. But 5-minute cold shower. This is going to release those feel-good hormones, make you happy. And a lot of you guys are struggling to find that feeling, right? Keep drinking coffee to after 90 minutes after waking, right? So if you have coffee first thing in the morning, what's going to happen is you're going to spike your cortisol, and we don't want that. Okay. Eat breakfast. Don't fast. If you're fasting, your blood sugar is already low when you wake up because you've been fasting for 6 to 8 already hours. So you should be replenishing your blood. You should be replenishing your body and stabilizing your blood sugar by having a balanced meal. Good carbs, fat, protein. A smoothie would be perfect if you're in a rush. Okay. Journal 3 stressors and then write down 3 other negative thoughts that you're having. Then after you're doing that, so you can do that. You can do a T chart on the left side, 3 stressors and then 3 negative thoughts. Okay. So that's 6 altogether. And on the right side, what are 1 to 2 coping strategies that you're going to use to decrease those stressors? Is it going to be meditation? Is it going to be identifying what the hardest task of the day you need to do is and just getting that done so you can get out of the way, aka swallowing the frog? So choose what strategy you want to go with and just run with it. Okay. Lastly, oxytocin is a hormone that gives us feelings of support, happiness, self-love. It's called the love hormone. And this is released through sharing struggles and wins with an individual or a group that you identify as a positive and trustworthy source. So if you don't have any accountability, you're stuck in a negative environment, your oxytocin, which is that hormone that makes you feel loved and makes you feel happy, that's going to be low. And most women going through menopause have low levels of oxytocin. And so another thing is, if you don't have hobbies right now, you've lost touch with the things that you used to do. Painting, dancing, water skiing, whatever, ice skating, whatever it is, get back to doing that. That's going to increase oxytocin, which is going to help you manage your cortisol. You got to focus on it more if you want to balance your hormones. And this is before we start talking about nutrition, exercise. So nutrition, extremely important to see body results. Okay, we want to stick to whole foods, as simple as that. Foods that are in the form that nature gave us. I'm never ridiculing or demonizing foods. In fact, I tell all my clients to enjoy ice cream every night of the week. But what I'm trying to say is prioritize having more whole foods. And, don't be so critical or hard on yourself if you decide to have, or, a brownie, or if you're looking at something, you're like, is this healthy? Because there's a difference between health and fitness. If you want to see body results, you can still see body results having processed food, but you're just not going to feel the greatest. And it's not going to help your hormones or anything like that, right? If you're really hard on yourself about your food choices, take a couple of our clients, for example. Most of them have a glass of wine each night. Most of them have a brownie. Most of them have a chocolate bar throughout the week because they realize that you only want more of what you can't have. If they don't have the chocolate bar, then at the end of the week, they're going to binge eat 5. If they don't have, that pasta that they love, well then, eventually they're going to come crashing down in a few weeks and binge eat a bunch of carbs because you always want more of what you can't have. So I'd rather teach my clients balance, but of course, try to stay mindful of having whole foods. Cool. Next is having more fat in your diet. The preferred macro split is 40% of your calories should come from carbs, 30% of your calories should come from fat, and 30% of your calories should come from protein. Okay. Foods like extra virgin olive oil, wild caught fish, nuts and seeds are really great ways to get in fat. Cruciferous vegetables, those are great to help pull out excess estrogen from your colon. Going through perimenopause and menopause, your progesterone decreases. When progesterone decreases, what happens is, you become estrogen dominant. And so when you're estrogen dominant, because you don't have as much progesterone anymore and you're mostly high estrogen, your body can start to have those hot flashes and mood swings and brain fog and poor sleep. And so if you want to take out the excess estrogen that's being recirculated into your bloodstream because it has nowhere to go, we want to start having more cruciferous veggies like cabbage, kale, cauliflower, etc. Not at every single meal, but just consider having, some boiled kale for dinner, or, some cabbage in a salad. Now, in aspects of how much calories you should be having, everybody's different. But a good general rule of thumb is, and make sure that you do this, is extremely vital to make sure you're getting enough calories. This is key if you want more energy, if you have none right now. And if you're stressed all the time because you're having little to no calories and your body is just burnt out because you're underfed, you got to start focusing on this. Take your current body weight, multiply it by 10. You're going to want to start using MyFitnessPal or Chronometer or the Lose It app. And don't try to be perfect. Hit 100 calories above or below that goal. And trust me when I say you will feel so much more energized and you'll have a better idea of how much you should be eating. Because right now you're just winging it because you don't have any accountability. Protein, you want to use your current body weight times 0.7 to 1 gram. If you're above 200 pounds, you probably want to stick to the 0.7, like the lower end. If you're below 200 pounds, then stick to the 1 gram. 200 times 0.7 is 140 grams of protein a day. And if you find that to be overwhelming, start with getting in 100 grams of protein a day and then work from there. But don't set the expectation extremely low. If you put it at 140 and you consistently fail and fail and fail and fail, why would you want to stay consistent? Why would you stay motivated? You wouldn't. You got to start with where you're at. So with our clients, we always make sure that they're able to hit that goal first, and then we increase from there. Lastly, exercise. So higher levels of cortisol. What happens with a higher level of cortisol? A lot more menopausal symptoms. So we want to decrease as much intense exercise as possible. So things like boot camp, circuit, CrossFit style workouts, all of that, unfortunately, we need to give up if the goal is fat loss or building more muscle. It's just, if it's for fun, try to do it once or twice a week at most. But if you're doing it all the time because your goal is to lose weight, you're just going to burn yourself out. Your adrenals are going to, you're going to go through adrenal fatigue eventually, and that's not a good thing. The goal, again, is to maintain strength, to maintain lean muscle mass, so that way your metabolism is nice and high. 2, how are you going to do that? You're going to progressively overload by lifting heavy weights and taking more rest periods. So why more rest? A lot of people just, do one exercise and jump to the next and then jump to the next. Why that's a problem is, who's going to be stronger? The woman who takes rest after doing 10 or 12 reps of a squat, who takes tons of rest, or the woman who takes no rest at all and tries to do the next set? Obviously the woman that's resting, right? So we want to rest for at least 3 to 5 minutes between sets. And if you do that, there's no reason why you should have to do more than 3 to 5 exercises in a workout, which should take you no more than 30 to 45 minutes. Your workouts should not have to be longer than 45 minutes. You should only have to do 3 to 5 exercises. I repeat again, 3 to 5 exercises. Take 3 to 5 minutes rest in between each set. Do 6 to 10 reps. Prioritize strength. Prioritize quality reps. And if you don't know how to lift properly, then make sure to get a coach, because they will help you with that. And that is the biggest fear that our clients have is, oh my God, am I going to hurt myself? We are here to monitor how you're doing your exercises. We're here to see how much you're lifting. We're here to give you tips to make sure that you don't hurt yourself. An example of progressive overload, which is absolutely critical to you building back muscle that you lost in your 30s and 40s, which is making it harder for you to lose body fat. And an example is, if you're doing squats this week, let's just say on week 1, you do 135-pound squat for 10 reps. On week 2, you have to do 140 pounds for 10 reps. So you see how you lifted just a little bit more than the last time? It's either we want to lift a little bit more weights, or we want to do an additional rep. Whatever allows us to progress over time. That's the only way that you're going to build more muscle. We can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And no, I don't mean changing up your workouts every day. That's not what you want to do. You will never get good at squats if this week you do squats and next week you do deadlifts and the next week you do this pulse squat thing and then the next week you do lunges. You're never going to get good at squats or that one exercise if you're always switching it up. The best way to build muscle is to get consistent doing the basics and then work your way from there. How are you supposed to stay consistent if you haven't even, solidified or mastered the basics, right? So LISS is like walking, around 50 to 60% of your heart rate max. I'm going to use my calculator. You do 220 minus your age. So let's say I'm 50. 220 minus 50 is 170. So that's the max that your heart rate is going to go. That's 100%. So if we take 170, which is your 100% heart rate max, and we multiply that by 0.50, which is 50%, you want to be maintaining around 85 beats per minute. Okay. So when you go for a walk, if you're going above 85 beats per minute, no big deal, but don't try to get yourself out of breath. You don't need to do that to see results. That's where we keep our clients at, to help them burn calories, but also to make sure that they don't burn out or feel too sore. Because when you're sore, you don't want to exercise, and it affects how you show up to work. It affects your quality of life. Sore doesn't equal a good workout. Sore means that you're not allowing your body to recover. In the beginning, it's normal because your body's just trying to get used to the inflammation response. But after that initial recovery stage, your body understands how to flush out lactic acid, which is what makes your body feel that burning sensation. It gets really good at filtering that out or flushing that out. So before we talk about hormone replacement therapy, I want to talk about joint pain management. A big part of improving your quality of life so that you can continue exercising is making sure that you're managing your joint pain. And that is a very common symptom of menopause or postmenopause is that joint pain, right? So what a lot of the hormone specialists that come into our program to speak about is, what they talk about is eliminating sugar just for a short time, including gluten. And this reduces inflammation. And so this can work really well for you if, I'm not saying sugar is bad, but, if right now, just right now in the phase of life that you're in, it's causing a lot of inflammation. Sometimes just for a few weeks, we want to cut back on it. And this doesn't mean you get rid of fruit and all that stuff. I'm just talking added sugars. What I want to do is get rid of added sugars. Feel free again to have fruit, berries, honey, and other natural sugars, but things that are added sugars, we don't want. Food sensitivities, you can do like a FODMAP diet temporarily to figure out what food sensitivities you have. Again, this is a short while. A lot of people start getting rid of sugar and start getting rid of all these foods long term, and that's actually going to damage your health. As you do a FODMAP diet, you can slowly reintroduce in foods one by one. And as you introduce them in, you'll see which foods actually you are sensitive to. And then that way, oh, I can't have, I don't know, eggs or something like that. And as soon as you realize you can't have eggs, then you just, that's the one food that you don't continue to consume. And now you're less inflamed forever. Next thing is prioritize variety. Sticking to the same foods daily leads to poor gut health. So we want to make sure that we do have whole foods and foods that we enjoy so that we can stick to things. But if you're just sticking to chicken, rice, and broccoli every day, that's actually not good for you. Even though you'd think, oh, it's such good food, then you start to lack certain vitamins and minerals and nutrients that come from other foods as well. And this might be blowing your mind right now because you're like, oh, well, I thought that I could only stick to these foods. The reason why you struggle to stay consistent is because you're stuck in a box and you're only limited to these things and your body doesn't get everything it needs because there's nutrients in everything. So diversity is extremely important. Poor sleep. This can lead to increased risk of injury or inflammation. So if you're having poor sleep right now, you're more susceptible to injury. Stress. Stress also increases inflammation that leads to joint pain. The very first thing that we focus on in our program is stress management. Mobility and flexibility. So other stretches to make sure we loosen everything up and get some blood flow to the joints. So hormone replacement therapy, I'm just going to go off of what Dr. Deb Matthew, which is the happy hormone doctor. She's been on like so many different talk shows. She came into our community and I wanted to forward this information to you that she shared with us. But a big myth and fear is that bioidentical hormone replacement therapy or HRT, hormone replacement therapy, can increase the risk of breast cancer. And this is one of the biggest myths, that I feel like have really held back women for a very long time. And the reason why this happened in the first place is because doctors perpetuated this myth because in the 90s, they were ridiculed because of an article that was released that didn't have much to prove that HRT increased breast cancer. The problem is most doctors didn't realize how small that chance was. In fact, women that are on HRT are less likely to die from other diseases. If you're on HRT, you're less likely to get a disease like this. So the pros weigh out the cons. Hormones protect many systems. All women in Britain are offered HRT for free. The governments know that they'll save money because they wouldn't have to help people with like heart attacks or assisted living or other diseases related to low hormones. So they actually use it as a preventative measure. And so hormone replacement therapy is free in Britain, which I feel it should be true here as well. It just has a bad rap and it's holding a lot of women back. Myth number 2, you should come off of HRT after age 80. Okay, when you stop producing hormones, it'll always be beneficial to take hormone replacement therapy. So you shouldn't stop at a specific age. And so in our program, we have a hormone specialist that can order labs. And so we make the process of getting blood serum tests or Dutch tests, which is a urine test, very easy. And that way, if your doctor denies you, we have resources that can help you with getting access to this because we understand how frustrating it is when a doctor turns you away because he says that your hormones are normal, but it's very normal to have imbalanced hormones these days. And so normal isn't the same as optimal. If we want to optimize your hormones and we don't want them to just be normal, because normal isn't great, right? If you want to feel great again, then we got to take matters into our own hands. getting your labs read to you so you understand what's actually going on. I have so many women say, yeah, I got my blood work done, but I still haven't seen my doctor and he hasn't explained anything to me. So I guess everything's fine. Absolutely not. You should feel that you have the support with knowing what's going on in your body, which is why we have resources to help you with that. Lastly, there is a risk for increased blood clots when taking estrogen pills, which is why there are better alternatives such as like topical creams, so things that you can put on your skin that don't have that same risk. And so there's more ways than one. That way we can reduce any risk associated with taking estrogen. Naturally, we can increase some of these hormones on our own. If you're lifting heavy weights, you're going to increase testosterone. If you're increasing muscle mass, you're going to improve your estrogen levels. If you're managing your stress, everything is going to be much more stable. But I want to be completely honest, transparent, guys. So many people skip the basics and they automatically blame hormones. And I want to say that hormones do affect the way of whether or not you're able to lose weight. It's going to be 20 to 30% more difficult, for example, for you to lose weight than somebody that's like not going through menopause because they aren't going through the hot flashes and the poor sleep and the sugar cravings and all these things. But those symptoms can decrease if we start focusing on stress management, if we start focusing on lifting heavy weights to make sure that you don't break your bones, or obesity because you're losing muscle mass and your metabolism is dropping, and or that your estrogen's decreasing and your insulin increases and that stores more body fat. And it's like, so stress management, exercise, and then nutrition, proper nutrition, making sure you're fueled. So like these are things that you cannot skip. And if you take hormone replacement therapy, but you're not doing those other three things, it won't do much for you. Think about somebody who isn't going through menopause and that isn't managing their stress, and that isn't exercising regularly, that isn't eating properly. Like they're also going to feel like garbage. And so it's like hormone replacement therapy is extremely, I'm a big fan of it and it's important, but let's focus on the basics that I mentioned here today in order for you to start seeing better results. I'm giving this to you for free because at the end of the day, I won't be here one day. And all that will remain is things that I've shared that will live forever on the internet. And hopefully somebody comes across this and it helps them and it gives them insight into what they can do so that they don't feel hopeless. And I think that women are taken advantage of massively right now because women are more likely to buy fitness coaching programs because they are more insecure due to these changes that their body's going through. And a lot of the fitness industry doesn't want to share this stuff because they want to keep you in that loop, in that cycle of feeling like you're in pain and feeling like you're stuck and hopeless, because that means that you'll continue to look for solutions. You need to understand that asking for help isn't weakness, it's a strength, because that means asking for help means that you're not willing to give up. And I think that's extremely powerful. But people in the fitness industry take advantage of your resilience. They'll feed you lies. They sell you lies because it makes them more money in the long term because you keep coming back. But when women join our program, we educate them on everything they need to know so that they're extremely clear and that they're giving their body what it needs and that they aren't feeling lost or overwhelmed, but that they get to the result with support because we're actually holding their hand the entire time through and they don't need to come back. Like we do not want to see you come back to the program unless it's literally the fact that you just want to build more muscle and you want to look a certain way. And that's different. But if you want to start feeling better and you want to lose body fat and you want to keep it off, then we're here to make sure that we're the last program you ever need to follow. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm taking on 5 more women into our Menopause Metabolism Matrix program. All you have to do after this is come back to me and say ready on Facebook or through text. You guys all have my number. Just say ready and I'll send you the details. We can set up a really quick this is going to be a free strategy call where we'll go over what your current goals are, what I feel like is holding you back, and then your perfect game plan moving forward. That way you don't need to feel lost anymore. Because even though you guys have all this information, you can watch this masterclass over and over again. It's like, you're not what you know. You are what you do with what you know. I'm going to say it again. You're not what you know. You are what you do with what you know. So if you're not able to implement these things, or you're doubtful of yourself and you're negative, you can't trust yourself, you lack motivation. Sometimes all that we need is that little push, a plan, guidance on a daily basis so that we can build back that momentum, build back that trust and confidence within ourselves so that you can go on your own. Everybody deserves a little bit of help. And I know that you can do this because I've seen it work for hundreds of women in our program. So if you're wondering if this will work for you, it ultimately comes down to whether or not you think it'll work for you and whether or not you'll apply these things, because it isn't easy. And if it was, then nobody would struggle, right? So that is it. That is all. Thank you so much for coming. And again, if you want that free strategy call, I will be giving it to 5 ladies. Just shoot me a message with ready and we'll get you guys all set up.